Welcome to Toffee TV. It is my 3 talking points. Everton 2, Peterborough United 0 in the FA Cup. Third round at Goodison Park. The Toffees march on to round 4, or limp on, or walk gingerly, given how icy it is tonight, into the 4th round. He got the job done on what is was obviously a very strange day for Everton. Strange day, I imagine, for the players, although I think they've known all week that Sean Dyche will be leaving the football club any day. And I think most of them didn't expect him to be in the dugout tonight anyway, but it's still a little bit strange. Everton have got the job done. Interim managers Leighton Baines and Seamus Coleman were on the sideline. It looked good seeing those two stood on the touchline, I must admit. But it wasn't a vintage Everton performance. I couldn't sit here and try to pass it off as it was a great performance from the team, because it wasn't. It was workmanlike. It got the job done. With a little bit more care at times, it could have been a lot more comfortable. But sometimes it is turning up and getting it done and keeping a clean sheet and going from there. And that's what they did. There was changes. João Virginia in goal instead of Jordan Pickford. We had Nathan Patterson starting the game for the first time. We had Jake O'Brien, who hasn't got much minutes of late, playing at the back, in the 3 at the back. Michalenko left wing back, Patterson right wing back. And also we had Harrison Armstrong starting. He's 17-year-old midfielder, excuse me, was excellent, I thought, all night. And obviously Beto was up front. So a good win for those two lads. You know, if that's the only game, and I imagine it will be, that they take charge of Everton, or certainly the only game this time around, maybe later on in the career they get another go, then they can say they've managed Everton in a 2-0 win in the FA Cup, and that's a proud thing to have on your CV. The first talking point I'm going to talk about is Harrison Armstrong. I've just given man of the match in my match reaction. For a 17-year-old lad, I think he's done himself proud in the last 2 games. He came on at half-time at Bournemouth at the weekend in the Premier League, and I thought he did okay. You know, he certainly didn't look out of place. He competed physically in that one, and he earned himself a start tonight, and I thought he was excellent tonight. He created Everton's opening goal, lovely little slide rule ball through to Beto, who took the goal really well, and I thought he's looked very good. And you know, 17, he's physically a good size. I think he's the type of player I think David Moyes would like to have in that squad as well, and he showed some good signs tonight. Like I say, he looks like he belongs in and around it. Not saying he should be starting in the Premier League, but he looks like he could be, you know, a useful player to have and certainly use. And at that age, to be in the first team and contributing in the first team, I think is a real positive for him. We'll see what happens in the second half of the season. We'll see whether Everton bring players in this window. I'm expecting them to bring at least 2 in this window. We'll see whether that affects them or it doesn't affect them. We'll obviously have James Garner and Tim Irobunan back within a couple of weeks as well. So therefore that might have a knock-on effect for Harrison. But he's had an excellent sort of cameo these last couple of games. I thought tonight he was very good. And that eye for a little pass in behind it is really good. And hopefully he can just build on it. So I thought he was a real positive to take out the game tonight. And, you know, delighted to see younger players coming through that academy and getting a go and being able to perform. That's what we want to see, don't we? We want as many of them in Everton's first team as possible. They've got to be good enough, of course, and that's an area that we do have to work on. And I know that Kevin Thelwell obviously is trying to sort of address that and build that up. We've got young Braden Graham, who's doing really well. We've also got Jake Bowman-Clark, who's doing really well as well. So they're a couple to look out for as well. We've got Roman Dixon, obviously, who's had a little taste of the first team this season as well. So all good. I'm a little bit disappointed Omari Benjamin wasn't on the bench tonight. I thought he might have got a little go on the bench tonight, but there you go. But well done, Harrison Armstrong. Second thing I want to talk about is the transfer window, obviously. We're in it now. We're in the midst of it. The Freaking Group are here now. That's underway, and we do have to address this. I know we were linked with Jaden Philogene the other day. Not sure how serious or how hard Everton pushed for Philogene. He's gone off to Ipswich anyway. But that is the type of player that we need to be targeting. Personally, I think we need a bit more pace than what Philogene got. I think Philogene's got the tricks and good ability, and I think he might do well at Ipswich under Kerr and McKenna. But for Everton, we've got to get, you know, some pace into this side. I keep banging on about it, probably boring everyone with it, but I think we do. I think we need to be looking and identifying pace in our side and a bit of creativity, and let's hope that we can do it. You know, when you look at the side or when you look at the squad, there's some quality in there. There is listen, the players look like they're on their arse at the moment. Confidence-wise, you can see it. They look terrified to do things. Now, I don't know whether that is the beaten down by Sean Dyche's tactics of that, because they're not winning everything he roads. We know it does. We know when teams get that little bit of an upturn, that little bit of confidence, that they look different players, it starts flowing. They start making decisions quickly, and a lot of off-the-cuff stuff comes off, and we're not doing that. We seem to be really taking our time over every pass, and I think that's why it's vital, I think, that you bring in at least 2 players this window. Now, Armando Broja's gone off tonight with what looks like a serious injury, and if that's the case, I expect Everton and Chelsea to come to an agreement to terminate that loan, which would free up a loan spot for Everton domestically. I know that Everton have still got, I think it's another 4 international loans they could call on, but they've got one domestically, and there's a couple of players who the Toffees are looking at in this country who in the Premier League, who they may want to chase up now and bring one of them in a forward position. But we're going to have to, if Brien has suffered a serious injury. It looks like he went straight to hospital, so we wish him a speedy recovery. The lad's had no luck over the last 3 or 4 years. He really hasn't, and feel for him, because he looked like the type of player that we needed, the type of player a little bit different to what we've got. Someone who can pick a ball up and run. Would have been great to see him in a genuine front 3. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen now. So we have got to be active in this transfer market, whether it be loan or permanent. You know, I'm sure Kevin Thelwell and the recruitment team have done their work and have identified fast players who can improve us, who they can get this window. And they've got to really move with that now and go and try and bring those players in and get them in through the door as quickly as possible, because that little fresh impetus of new players will give everybody a lift. Obviously, I'll talk about my next point in a minute, but that coupled with my next point will give this freshness to this side, and we can start getting those victories that we need to ensure that we're not anywhere near the relegation conversation come May. And for me, 5 wins and maybe 3 draws out the 19 games, I imagine will put Everton safe, and that's allowing for 11 defeats. And if we lose 11 of the next 19, then we won't have had a very good second half of the season either. So, you know, it's right on it now. We have to start performing. We've got 2 home games coming up, 2 really tough games against Villa and Spurs, but they're both at Goodison. They'll be under a new manager. Why not? Let's see. Let's see if the players will be invigorated. I'm sure they will. The crowd will be invigorated. And let's see whether we can get a result. But new players will really help that. And then obviously there'll be a big rebuild in the summer. That's what's needed. There'll be a reset. Players will be going out and things like that. So that's for another time. We definitely need a couple, at least, if not 3 in January. And we need to do it quickly as we possibly can. Third and final point, as if I'm not going to talk about the managerial situation from tonight. There's not really else to talk about the game. It was quite flat. Everton done the job. They got what they needed to do. But we've got a managerial position available because Everton have chose to remove Sean Dyche as their manager. I think it's the right decision. 3 wins in 19 is absolutely diabolical. 1 win in 11, 15 goals scored, 11 games without the stats are just terrible. They're terrible. And any manager, whether you like the manager or you didn't or whatever, you know, if David Moyes wins 3 of the next 19 and we somehow stay up, I think the free can get rid of him as well. It's a results business. Doesn't mean, like I've said all day, doesn't mean you can't say Sean Dyche did a good job keeping us up, and everyone should be grateful for that because we were in trouble last time. How he got the job. And again, I've said the same, grateful to Frank Lampard for keeping us up when we looked like we were gone, but then he couldn't kick on and his time come to an end. The same with Sean Dyche. Really grateful that he kept us in the league. Last year he had a lot to deal with. This season's not been good enough, and that's why he's not the Everton manager anymore. So we move on, and it looks like it is David Moyes, unless there's a last-minute change of heart, but it looks like that he's sorting out the backroom staff. Personally, I hope Lee Carsley comes in. We'll see whether that happens. I don't know. I'd like him to, because I think he's a real progressive coach, but he might be wedded to the under-21s for England and doesn't want to leave that. I don't know. I hope he does, because I think that'd give a real freshness to the appointment as well. We'll see who else David brings with him. Billy McKinley's worked with him in the past. We'll see. Alan Irvine was with him once, wasn't he? And and Steve Round's been with him, but I know he's doing other stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think there'll be people who will be disappointed that it's David Moyes, of course. There'll be people who will be really pleased that it's David Moyes. And there'll be people who are a bit like, I get it. I sort of get it. Let's see what happens. But I think what David Moyes will do is, I think Everton is still his club, and I think it always has been. And I think because of that, he'll bring a lot of the fan base sort of back together. I think he'll make us feel like he's one of us fighting against other stuff. Because he is good at doing that. And I think that's what we need, if truth be told. And you look at it, I was really happy with Graham Potter. The Friedkin group, for whatever reason, didn't go through with it. So they've obviously thought that maybe David Moyes is a bit of a sure bet, and maybe they've got their eye on something else longer term. And that's fine if that's what they've made that decision. But I think, we've got the opportunity now to sort of reset. We're at the halfway stage in the Premier League. For us, we've played 19, got a game in hand on some of the teams, albeit it is against Liverpool at home, but there you go. It's a game, isn't it? It's an opportunity for points. And we need to get behind David Moyes, which we will. I don't think it needs saying. I think everyone will be behind David Moyes when he comes in. And we have to get these wins. We've got to stick together. And, if we could get maybe 4 points out the next 2 home games, that'd be fantastic. But let's see. I mean, it's a big ask. It's a big ask right now, because they're 2 very good sides. Villa more so than Spurs right now. But who knows? Who knows what can happen? But we've got to stick together now. I'm sure a lot of people will. I'm sure the atmospheres will be better, and I'm sure we can get on our front foot and get some positive results and finish the season strongly at Goodison on a more upbeat note to give Goodison a send-off. We're in January already. The season finishes. We're finished at Goodison Park in May forever. So we have got to sort of do that. I'm sure we will. David Moyes knows how to use Goodison. He knows how to engage the crowd. We will need that to try and grind results out. And let's hopefully we can all move forward now and begin a new future. It's the first real big decision from the Friedkin group. Big, new stadium coming as well in the summer. New players will be coming. Could be the start of a new era. Let's hope David Moyes pushes us closer to that new era. And we can relax a little bit by the end of the season. Let's hope we can get enough results that we can relax a little bit in April, maybe a bit earlier. Who knows? But there you go. It is the beginning of a new era at Everton. And also, like an old era as well. There you go. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for watching. See you later.